Okay, this is Squid on the base, and we're going to be now looking at a plat. This is going to be a support, tank, flex. I think it was Mercy, Moira, and some Reinhardt. So I'm assuming it'll switch after one of the rounds. But high platinum, and we'll see what we got going here. I do not know that language. That's exciting. Oh, this must be on... Is this EU or is this South America? Or Central... Latin America? I don't know. Well, I won't be much help on comms if there are any, because my Spanish is very rusty. Very, very rusty. Looks like we're going to be running dive. I think you're going to switch over to one of the heals.
Science will reveal the truth.
Oh, Lucio's going to switch off. I know that. Okay, so just looking at compositions, you're running like your sorry, one sec. Like you're running your dive tanks and your tracer, but both, like, you have one DPS that's going to be kind of off on his own that will hopefully be helpful, but it's a Hanzo and Plat, so who knows. And then your duo, like your healing duo, is going to be a little strange here. Moira's going to have to use mobility to basically stay with her tanks, which is going to make her vulnerable. And you don't have the Zenyatta that you would, I'd say, at least normally expect to have with dive. And especially since you're running like what's going to be basically a 3-person dive between Winston, D.Va, and Tracer. Discord Orb would be really helpful to have here. So I don't know if you or the Mercy have Zen in their pool, but Zen would have been a good choice here. I go DPS as Mercy. So right from the start, right? Moira is one of the more strange healers, because her resource works differently, right? You can't reload her resource. So basically, you want to be wasting Moira's healing as little as possible. So like here, you're like quote unquote topping people off almost just on like a tick more than anything. But that's all that does with Moira is makes you run out of resource. So I wouldn't, even though it's like it'll probably recharge from here, like that's something that you don't want to see. Like you want to be exclusively healing damage. You use Fade here, which is okay because it puts you somewhere that's less vulnerable. I don't agree with using the healing orb here. There isn't really enough damage onto your team to warrant needing it. But hopefully your team will just take some time and stabilize in here anyway. Yeah, like you're definitely overusing your healing resources right now, right? How Moira's healing works with her left click is that once you left click someone, there's a couple seconds of like healing that continue after you stop actually holding mouse 1. So in a case like this where it's not time sensitive, your team's going to take some time to stabilize in here. Winston's probably going to wait for his bubble. All you have to do is just do like a little tap on the Winston, a little tap on the D.Va, and that should heal them up most of the way, especially since you have a Mercy as well. And like, yeah. I don't know if you needed the damage orb there, or the healing orb. You probably could have thrown out a damage orb and it would have gotten more value for your team. Like there. That orb that you threw, so we're gonna get into some Hanzo simple geometry stuff, right? So you're gonna throw out an orb. You throw out an orb basically this way, while the Reinhardt's already starting to move this way. So maybe what you'd want to do instead is throw out your orb here and let it bounce off the wall, and that way it should get like the full 200 damage points of value from it. Like, decent job of switching between healing and damage. I like that you used your Fade here to get to... I don't know if I like that you used... Fade to get to your Tracer that was low, but it is what it is. Wow, that D.Va built ult already. That's crazy. I don't know where the fuck the rest of your team is right now. But your D.Va died to that? Yikes. Decent target priority at the end there, although it's just cleaning people up, right? Probably could have thrown out a damage orb and been in better shape there, but your team's going to win this out either way. You have Coalescence for next fight now, which is good.
Nice, go.
Dale, pusheen. Por izquierda.
Por el top. Bueno. Tracer.
Al killer. Mercy. Mercy arriba.
D.Va, y un fist. Nah, estoy muerto.
You're doing a decent job of switching between healing and damage when you need to, and you're using Fade to get out of sticky situations, which is good. I don't like using Fade so aggressively to reposition and heal up like a Tracer, especially when they have more mobility than you. I let the Tracer either come to you or go for a health pack or something, which is pretty normal in Tracer's playstyle. So the biggest things right now that I have issues with is how you're using Fade and how you're using your orbs. I definitely fall under like Jane's point of view that it's more helpful most of the time to throw out a damage orb than a healing orb, and you've mostly thrown out healing orbs so far, except for when the fight's already won.
Para atrás.
There's one.
Ganamos.
Okay, you anticipate that, which is good. This fight's already lost anyway, though. Your team should have backed out a while ago.
I'm not dead yet.
Mira para atrás, Tracer, para atrás. Sacamos una, así que bien. Vamos por izquierda. Mercy low.
Your Winston's being suicidal. Your Winston's low. Help your Winston. Yeah, like you're overhealing right now, and then so you're overhealing using your primary resource, and then you're like, how you throw out orbs makes me think that you don't play Moira much, because you don't throw them in ways that would like make sense, right? Like you threw out a damage orb there. That's trajectory was basically to go, let me line this up, was going to go off a wall here and then bounce around here and then like here, but never really would go out here where the enemies were. And you threw out a damage orb. So it's like you want to make sure you throw a damage orb in a way that it'll actually hit your enemies and then hopefully stay with your enemies until it deals the full 200 damage. The other thing I've seen is that you keep throwing damage orbs out into a D.Va, which is just easy eats for D.Va. Like you wanna be watching for maybe when D.Va has defense matrix down, like if she just used it or if she's used like the full 2 seconds of it or so, or however long it is now. Your D.Va does not know how to support a Winston. This is 100% someone that's just super fragger.
Go, D.Va, go, D.Va.
Your tracking definitely needs work. Your tracking definitely needs work. Like, yeah, okay. So here, pretty much everyone on your team is healed up. You have a Winston that doesn't quite have armor, but that's about it. Right? Like, he's about here of his health bar that goes out to here. And, like, you throw out a healing orb when you have a... Actually, is that... Oh, that's their Mercy. That's in Valk. Probably would have been better served to throw out a damage orb here, and then just use Mouse 1 to heal up your Winston, and alternate between Mouse 1ing your Winston and Mouse 2ing the Moira.
Nice.
Yeah, your play strikes me as someone that just hasn't played a lot of Moira. Like, maybe you're filling her because you can. You should definitely be going for the Genji here. That's blading. You're one of his biggest counters.
Llevo ahí Reinhardt.
Yeah, so both your mechanical skills definitely need work. Like your not only is your tracking poor, but also your reaction to like that Hanzo dying, and when you switch off mouse 1 to mouse 2 is like a solid half a second, which is way too long. You use fade there even though you're in cover.
What I would do?
Good thing fade's on a short cooldown. Oh, he didn't even go for you. He went for Winston.
Push up.
Yeah, like even there, right? Winston jumps away and you're healing him way past the point when he's outside your actual range.
Coalescence is ready. Advance with me. Group
It also it looks like you just like don't put a lot of thought into when to do throw out a healing orb versus a damage orb. It's just very inconsistent when you choose to do one versus the other. This fight's lost. Just back out. Don't even bother healing your team up. You have Coalescence. It's just delaying the inevitable. Just fade away. You're going to die here for sure. Yeah. Either like you need to die with the rest of your team there or get away quickly. But basically all you did was just stagger yourself for another 5 seconds. Again, like you're overhealing again. Like he's clearly healed up and he has a mercy beam. You're just wasting, like you're already down to 2/3 of your healing resource, even though he's full HP.
Diva, vos saltás, yo te sigo.
I would have thrown out a damage orb there before the Coalescence. You're kind of just aiming at whoever currently is in the way instead of trying to focus down one particular target. Yeah, like you can't decide whether you want to kill the Diva or you want to kill their Moira or what. Again, like he's full HP, you throw out a healing orb. I'd be throwing out a damage orb if anything and helping the soldier kill someone. Your Diva's gonna feed and die here most likely.
Auxilio!
That was a good damage orb. Cool, is your team gonna actually cap here? Punch Boy's gonna get on.
Diva arriba, Diva arriba.
Nice, good cap. Oh, now we get some spicy Reinhardt play. Nice. Looking at team comps, you're gonna have a lot of healing, but you're not gonna have someone to help you manage aggression like a Zarya would. So once your shield goes, your team's basically gonna be fucked. Yeah, so before we get started on Reinhardt, so my biggest notes from Moira, A, it just seems like you're not very comfortable on her, so play her more. Be much more conservative with how you use your healing, like your mouse 1 resource. Watch for, like, be more decisive about when you use healing orbs versus damage orbs. And, what was the other one? And and just work on your mechanical skill. I don't know what your setup looks like or anything, but both your tracking with Moira, which is one of the easier characters to track with, as well as your reaction time were poor. They're running dive, so your shield's not going to really matter. You're just like eating unnecessary damage right now. If they're not engaging anywhere, then just hide behind a corner. Like you're just wasting shield right now.
Ana low. Tracer slip. Buenísimo.
Your Diva fed again. Your Diva's really bad. She's causing a lot of problems for your team. There wasn't a ton you could have done there. Like, your diva very much strikes me as someone that just plays diva and has just used her to climb up, like, an extra rank. Without actually understanding, like, how she plays in a team. They're just abusing the micro missiles and stuff to get kills and move up on the ladder. Good job coming up here. But, like, the problem is, like, with their team comp, like, they don't really have, like, a bunch of, like, ranged damage to protect from. Like, really, like, by running a shield, right? The only, like, real range damage that you're protecting your team from are, like, Lucio and Ana. Like, every one of these other people either completely ignore your shield or just position around it and then, like, kill somebody. So Reinhardt picks a little scary, and, like, your diva isn't doing a good job of mitigating any of those people either. Probably would be good to go maybe, like, Orisa here, where you can help zone some of them, or Winston instead.
No te puedo creer eso.
Ya sale poco.
Yeah, this Doomfist is legit, though. Is your team gonna get capped here? Damn. Yeah,
Ese Doom
Reinhardt...
rompió el orto.
I would have switched off Reinhardt after first point, just seeing what their composition is. And you, like, wasted shield early in the engage fights, but other than that, I didn't see any massive problems with your Reinhardt. Back to the Moira, okay. I actually have class starting in a couple minutes, and I've already given you a couple points on Moira, so I'm going to skip ahead to when you go Mercy and try to give some feedback on that. And then I'll probably have to, hop off. Sorry about that. I meant to do this earlier and just, like, lost on time, and then I needed to get this from you instead of the... I was originally going to use the flow feedback, but I can't actually, like, full screen the video for flow feedback, so... Mercy here, pretty good pick on defense. Like, yikes, that's a team comp. You're gonna be able to help support, like, your soldier so far as, like, damage boosting him at range, which is really good. And having Resurrect for, like, a long defense like this is really strong. This is a giant question mark, and I'm just gonna say Plat's doing Plat things, and I'm very familiar with this. Where are we reporting? I don't know. I don't really give a shit. I'm curious, is this EU or is this South America? Because it seems like everybody speaks Spanish, and I doubt, from what I've understood, the problem with EU is that everyone speaks different languages, but everyone's speaking Spanish here.
Doom por izquierda, todo por izquierda. Menos Genji. Está subiendo.
Where are you? You damaging Moira right now?
Ole.
That's a yikes. You could have canceled your Guardian Angel there and saved you from taking poke from the Genji. You put yourself in kind of a vulnerable position. You do seem much more comfortable on Mercy, just like from an immediate look.
Muerto.
What? Stop running away from your team! That's a dangerous res, considering you know that there's a Winston, Lucio, and a Diva all hanging out around there. That's a very, very dangerous res. Right, so when you resurrect, you have to be able to be aware of the threats to yourself and, like, things that could boop you when you go to resurrect, right? So you need to be seeing, like, okay, how many people are there around me? Am I protected by a shield or by a Diva? And if there aren't people near me, are there things that can close that distance using mobility? So, like, even if there's not a Winston nearby, if he has his leap off cooldown, then he can leap onto you and deal a bunch of damage. And if that's partnered with somebody dealing some damage from afar, then you could get killed in the middle of Resurrect, right? That was definitely, like, a bit of a bot res. Like, you just saw someone down and you were like, res them. It's like there were 3 people right there on top of you.
Yeah, muy low.
Estoy muerto. Maten a Ana, chicos. Maten a Ana y no tiene curas.
This fight's lost. Don't go to point. Please don't go to point.
Ah, back, back, back.
No llegues,
Okay,
no mueras,
good.
no mueras porque nos rushean.
Good, good, good. Are you guys gonna go like the full 5 minutes here, or is this gonna? This is gonna go to further rounds. Oh my goodness.
Saca un Bastion.
I can't watch all this, but I'll watch probably another. I'll probably watch through the end of this push. But again, this strikes me as more like compositional issues as opposed to like you performing. Like you had like a bot res, but that wouldn't be solely enough. Good job getting away from the Genji ult here.
Vos Reaper al mono.
Don't res. There's a Winston and a Doomfist in your 50 HP.
Ana, 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 Ana.
The wonders of modern medicine.
Come on, man. Actually, that's just like kind of unfortunate. Sometimes you don't get lined up the way you expect to. Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm going to wrap it up here, but I have some notes for your Mercy as well. Be aware of where you're Guardian Angeling to and what threats will be there, right? So you want to make sure you use Guardian Angel, not just to get away from where you're currently at, but to also put you in a place that will be safe. Manage the threats that are around you, or like be aware of the threats around you before you go for a resurrect. Like if you just try to immediately resurrect something, and there's a bunch of people on top of you, then you're gonna probably die. And I never even got to see you use Valkyrie, so I don't know what exactly to say there. But those were the two big things. But it was a pretty small sample size as far as time, so there may be other problems, but unfortunately I do have to run off. I wish I had more time to commit to this, but I have class that started 3 minutes ago that I have to go watch. So either way, hopefully this feedback helps, and yeah, have a good one.